with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mike Baum's here. Joe Latender, Diana Leva, and Greg Simpson is not here for harassment. Diana Klein. And Diana Klein is not here. Okay, first call of business is the public comment period. There's a list over there. You want to sign?
I think Raleigh's the only one who signed up. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Rolling. Well, you got to open public comment.
Okay, I make a motion to public comment. Or, discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Am I on?
You're on.
I only have one thing to say, and that is, I really like the idea of extending the term limits or terms, durations for the elected positions in the town of Hurley. I think it's a brilliant idea. She did that long ago. The only thing that I would like to share or as an opinion is that the members of the board terms are staggered so that it's not everyone gets reelected at the same time. So there's some continuity. But other than that, I support that proposed resolution that's being considered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody on the list?
Just a sec. I have a question for you. Raleigh, did you say you thought that extending all of the public officers was
Yes,
a good
all
idea?
the offices,
Or the 2 year call?
all the 2-year offices.
Right.
All of them.
But to keep the board election staggered.
Okay. Anybody on the list? Start that.
That's it.
Anybody wish to speak? Now's your chance. I make a motion to call the public comment.
Second.
All right, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So be it. Okay, have you guys read the next? My next, I have a suggestion for the next one. We don't have Diana here.
Yeah.
And we don't have Greg here. Let's move to the next.
Okay. I agree.
All right, Lynn, that's okay?
It's fine with it. I have a few corrections that were emailed to me. If you see anything like typos, why don't you email them to me and
Everything in its original form is posted. We'll update it when the changes are made.
Okay. All right, my report here, I just got one thing here, and this is a letter from, Mark Molinaro. Find it. And this is basically, I believe it was like June of last year, we applied to the state and the county to lower the speed limits on US 209 and also the town roads to 25 and school zones. Well, we got a letter back from Mark Molinaro, who's the assistant engineer of Department of Transportation, and the letter says the following things. Thank you for your correspondence tracking it with the New York State Department of Transportation dated August 30th, 2024. A formal speed limit investigation has been completed on the section of US Route 209 within the town of Hurley. The study included electronically recording and analyzing motorist speeds, as well as a formal review of the crash history. Obviously, that crash history was like kind of lax because there was a lot of crashes on that area going through. Continuing, additionally taken into consideration were the roadway geometrics and physical conditions on and adjacent to the section of US Route 209. The existing traffic control devices were also reviewed. New York State DOT found that the 85th percentile speeds along the corridor exceeded 55 miles per hour. The national guidelines indicate that speed limits should be set within 5 miles per hour of the 85th percentile of operating speeds of free-flowing traffic. The 85th percentile speed of this section of US 209 is 59 miles per hour. Therefore, a speed limit reduction to 40 miles per hour does not meet the criteria. Any reduction below 55 miles would place many motorists in non-compliance with the speed limit. So we also require constant police monitoring to motorists to adhere to this unrealistically low speed limit. My response is nonsense.
So the faster we all go, the higher the speed. limit?
I mean, it says here that 85% of the people
Are speeding.
are speeding, and therefore we should keep it, because we don't want to speed higher. Because what they're saying, they basically, well, we're
Because
saying,
everybody goes faster.
we're basically gonna say here that, if you go 40 miles an hour, they'll now go 45 miles an hour, according to what's said here. Then it's okay then. But faster than 59 and so forth. Anyway, I have contacted Sarah Hanna, Stratford, and Michelle Hinchy, sent them a copy of this also, and I've asked them to help us, increase the visibility of this thing. We were never told basically that this was being done at all. And if it was, I would have told you at the speed. No, but I'm just saying basically this is you get this error on the side of caution. If the speed parameter is 59 miles per hour, lowering it down would lower that too. But he's saying right here that if you go to 40, you'll still have people being 59 miles per
And
hour.
it doesn't say anything about, one of the big things in our resolution was about the egresses to the rail trail. And that people are having to make left-hand turns on these, where people are going 59 or 60 or 65 miles an hour. And it says nothing about that.
It's amazing.
But
This
wasn't
is-
there an accident at that corner?
Yeah, all the
How
time.
many
Yeah, all the
accidents?
time.
All the time. That
No.
doesn't matter.
There's one, from personal experience, I remember like when I pull out of Wine Coop Road to go to 209, if I see cars entering the overpass, going south,
Mhm.
I figure I have enough time to make my left-hand turn. You don't. I always get hit. So you can't judge how fast they're going.
Right.
So I think this is well, I'm going to ask to have this thing looked over again, more or less, and have Michelle Hinchy and Sarat on it.
Make sure they have the copy of the resolution too,
I
that
sent
has
everything.
all of that stuff in
I
there.
have sent everything to them.
Thank you.
Yet, you continue going down that road, it goes down to 25, it goes to 45, it goes to 30, it goes to 55.
Yeah.
Because I used to drive that
Yeah.
passageway to get to Ellendale Hospital.
Right, but the interesting aspect of,
So therefore, that doesn't, it's not even logical.
right, no, but the thing is, though, what I find troublesome is that you go down to Marbletown, and once you hit High Falls Cafe, it's 40 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Through the entire.
Stone Ridge, yeah.
213.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why that's okay, but this is not okay. And the,
Exactly.
There's
no business
response was
district.
there were more intersections on that stretch of 219 than there is from the Hurley section. So I am gonna try to dispute this, contact further on go through here. There is no point, there's nothing here saying, if you wish to dispute this is the procedure. I'm gonna find the procedure to have this done. All right, and basically, and I just want to say that we have a resolution here. We got the $1.325 million grant for the
Landfill.
Oh,
yeah, we got the grant for the solution to clean up the landfill. And so it started,
that's for just the study.
that's
right?
the study. But again, I'm making an assumption and I'm hoping I'm correct. I don't see them giving us $1.325 million to a study to clean up the landfill. And then once they get the study and how the solution is, that they won't give us the money to clean it up. Otherwise, that's a waste of $1.325 million. And that's just, our feeling is that they will start cleaning up. We just got a notice from Kathy Hochul. There's $325 million in the same fund that they call the 1.325. It really big. So we are shooting for that. The thing is, though, which is also troublesome, is that the study may take 2 years to go through this whole process. And I've also submitted to Econ, the committee or the group that's doing the study. I submitted them all the results of the pilot program that shows that what was done was very, very helpful and can be used as a solution to this problem. There were three solutions that was introduced, that was told to. The first solution is to take the entire land or dig it up, move it somewhere else. That just brings the problem downstream to somebody else, which is not right. The second solution was to hold back the groundwater so it doesn't enter the landfill. That's impossible. Groundwater does not flow in the channel underground. It flows everywhere. So you can't do that. And the third one is to on-site termination, on-site removal of it more or less. And that basically is you have a system that will remove all of the components of the leachate that's harmful and then dispose of it on site into a drainage pond, which will help town of Hurley tremendously because we spend close to perhaps like $100,000 a year on leachate pulls. So this will help us greatly in this kind of thing to do that. So this is something that we're pushing for. Okay. All right. John, recreation?
As far as, so we've committed to the September 13th for Hurley Day. We'll be working on that quite a bit here diligently over the next multiple weeks leading up to it. One request that I wanted for the town board is, I'd like to go out and start recruiting a little more board members for the recreation board. Currently, I think we have 6. I really think we can double that. That'd be great. But I wanted to maybe work with Jeremy and do a blast and try to get some more people on board to assist us. As these things start growing, we need more volunteers and help.
Yes.
So as long as the board's okay with that, I'll move forward with trying to recruit.
We have that running survey going for people interested in committees, but we could post and blast something specific to yours. Yep.
And then lastly is the park updates. The highway department did do the initial park for from the well across the road. Currently they're overwhelmed with work, and they're going to get back to us hopefully in August, and that'll be a great achievement to get electric and water out to the ball fields. Also, we have the water was tested for the Part 5 on June 25th, so that hopefully we'll receive those test results for our 22nd, for the July 22nd meeting. Moving forward, that'll allow us then to move forward with our fountains, our updating all of our water systems and such at the town park. And unfortunately, we received no bids for the outfield leveling and seeding. Everybody that I spoke to that wanted to bid, they're just so far behind with all the rains. So they're going to submit fall bids. So please do so. It's better actually in the fall. I just kind of had to let all the the recreation youth groups down for this year. However, moving forward next spring, it'll be probably a much better situation with the grass going through the fall into the winter, prepping for next year.
So you expect it to be Little League ready next year?
I believe Little League,
Mountain
multiple Little Leagues, multiple when we had the flag football, but we also had multiple AAU team softball, girls softball, and boys younger level that wanted to use the field, and unfortunately, it's really not. The infields just aren't playable.
Okay.
So,
We know that since there's no bids on the RFP, we can then go out and
right.
get contracts.
So I told them to start submitting now based on whatever date you want. I know football's over, flag football's over mid to late October. They start early August. So it's really actually a perfect situation. If we can get in there in late October, early November, and do it.
Being so warm.
Right. You never know. Right?
So they might be able to use the fields for class.
Oh no, they're definitely using the fields. They
Oh,
got
they
3
are?
fields.
For practice?
Yeah, we already went up there. We measured out all the fields. They have 3 fields this year. They're looking like they have a little over almost 300 kids this year, so it's going to be another plus season for them.
So that season goes from August to,
So they do their 5-day camp in August, beginning of August, and then I think they wanted to start it a little earlier this year due to dusk and such. So and the amount of kids they have, the games they have to get in. So they're going to move to Fridays and Saturdays, and they're looking to start mid-August with their games into October.
into October. Great. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Mike Schultz, you want to say anything about the highway department?
Well, we already have a couple things on here for the highway department tonight. One, like I said, the extension.
Well, you can do that later. We could talk about some of the projects that you're involved in right now.
Well, the biggest project we got going on is the microphone. So we're the Joy's Lane project has been slow going between the weather, with the rain and the temperatures and the soil content. spoke to a couple contractors today, and they were telling me that we're in the most difficult type of soil down there. When we dig our 3 foot wide trench, it caves in before we can even get the gravel and the pipe in there, so we had to get big boxes put in. And we dig the trench out, before we get the big box in, next thing you know, we got a 6 foot wide trench, but it just keeps caving in. If you guys get a chance, you can go down there and see, the guys are doing a great job. It's just, the soil content slowing us down, and the water. The amount of water that's still coming down off the Zambrook Road from the county project up there and coming down on the Joyce Lane is tremendous. Even in the dry weather. Today, we had that little thunderstorm burst. It hit right there. I mean, we at the shop on Low Hill, no rain. Get down there on Joyce Lane, I think we had over an inch of rain in 20 minutes.
Yeah, it poured at the town hall.
Yeah, Main Street had 3 inches of water. So it's been a struggle to get more than 20, 30, 40 feet of piping. We have one good day, we got 80 feet in. We're just getting near the big sycamore down there, so we're coming out trying to get rid of the root gas that are sycamore as best we can. But we keep finding pipes that people have put in over the years that are coming down. It's a challenging project. The men are up for it. It's just slow going. We've been doing some cost sharing or truck sharing with Marbletown, helping them pave. They're gonna, in return, they're gonna pave Creekside for us, the little section of Creekside that we have. What else we got? We're trying to get out patching. I've arranged with the county to borrow one of their hot boxes so we can get 3 tons at a time, and it keeps the blacktop hot. Believe it or not, blacktop in this type of weather can still cool down if you don't get it in fast enough, and then you lose it. It blocks up and you can't spread it. So we're working on that, and working in between all the vacation time. That I got 2 guys out this week on vacation. We got 1 guy out sick, so we're plugging away, but we will get all the potholes filled in. So we got a couple of driveway pipes that we got to do on Old 28, and then we're going to try to pave that. And later in August, we got a full crew in, and that's all we got right now. Oh, the 3rd truck we should be getting here shortly. It's only got to be ready in the 2nd week of July. I haven't checked with it this morning, but I'll. And the 4th truck is in Indiana, and that's supposed to be delivered the 1st week of August, he said. And that'll be, once that gets over to Ellenville for the upfitter, that we should have that by the end of August. Then we'll have our full fleet and be ready to go for winter.
So yeah, what happens to the trucks that they're replacing?
Do you think?
What happens to the trucks that's being
We're
replaced?
gonna auction them off. And then, this year I'm gonna go back, instead of the straight salt and the developments, I'm gonna mix, we screened all the material from the road. We swept up that we used last winter actually the last 3 years. We swept up all the grit that we had bought the previous years. We screened that all. We're gonna mix that 2-to-1 mixture for the salt and salt shed to keep costs down. Because we don't get the cost prices until August. I'm fearful that it's going to go up quite a bit. We're paying 65 a ton. I'm hearing that it might go up to 100. So we're gonna go back to mixing our salt and grit mix. So a little more sweeping in the spring, but I think it'll be worth it on the plus areas. So. But I just ask all the board members, get down there and see what the men are doing down on Joyce Lane. Appreciate the hard work they do.
Right. I have a question for you about the sycamore tree you mentioned. You mentioned the sycamore tree that goes over Joyce Lane. Any discussion about that big branch that, it's a beautiful tree. Are we concerned that that branch might just fall into the
That
road?
tree is healthy as the sun of gun.
Okay.
That one, and it's big brother down on Brinks Lane. And then there was one more Josh Vogt was telling me about. I'm not quite sure where he said it was. But those 2 trees I've seen a lot in their lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
They're over 200 years old. And the one lady told me in the house that bought Welch's old house at Joyce Lane, she bought the house because of the tree. Said it was so beautiful.
Don't cut it down.
Anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, take a ride down on Wine Coop, see the 6-foot diameter sycamore. Sits on the corner of Brinks Lane and Wine Coop.
I know.
Right. Yeah.
And then it's got a sister tree over on Joyce Lane. So.
Thank you.
I just want to add one more thing, the crosswalks line. Main Street and Hurley Avenue. We got the permit. We have a contractor. We can start work in about 2 weeks. And that should be, that should be done fairly, quickly once it gets started. And then we wait for the counter to come paint lines. And, then we'll have it.
Something's done.
So Trump, everything's into
Okay. Any other comments from anybody here?
One thing I'll note, Mike, is that, closed Joy's Lane down.
Yeah.
Completely now,
Almost.
because people were still flying through. When we got done work at night and we opened one lane, they were flying through there like maniacs. So we cut it. It's only the people that live there now, no through traffic. And I talked to 911 center. I tell them anything from box 373 to Zandhook has to come in Zandhook, and anything from the other side up from 383 has to come in from Lucas Avenue. And so, because I don't want anybody hitting the equipment over there and whatnot. So that's closed to through traffic right now.
Good.
There's maybe it'll deter some of the people that like to use that as a shortcut. To change.
It's not a shortcut.
Maybe if they have to drive around for 21 days, it'll change their habits.
You think so?
I can only hope.
Well, I have to drive around. It's close.
Okay.
You live on Joyce? Do you live on Joyce?
Any, further discussion, Joe? Okay.
There is one thing I think that we should think about is, incorporating guardrails along the south, the north bend by the cemetery side. There was another vehicle that went into and destroyed, I think, 3 more tombstones, another tree.
He actually knocked one tombstone 40 feet, 400-pound tombstone.
So
Xander Road, right on the curve.
I did bring it up, but the guardrails.
Well, I was there, I saw the damage there, it was amazing, in fact, there was a branch that was 9 feet tall, that was knocked down. This guy went flying over it. He tried to get away in a sense, but his truck just, broke the oil pan, all the oil came out, and he was seen walking away, carrying a beer can.
Over.
On Monday, this happened on Saturday night or Sunday morning, around 1 o'clock. On Monday, he turned himself into the
Okay.
state troopers. We gave him 7 tickets. They couldn't do a DWI, obviously.
Still though, I mean, in reference to the build out, there should be a guardrail on that side. Because now you're gonna make it easier for cars to go right into it. I mean, at least now you have the building and there should be a guardrail.
So I'll make a suggestion to the county.
That's right, it's county
And
road.
then go with every other suggestion we made about Xander Grove.
Go on the same file.
I mean, the damage he did was amazing.
Just straight ahead.
But he, well, he was lucky he survived because he actually hit that tree side by. There's a bark missing on the tree. And it's all caved inside on the pickup truck there. Okay. All right, any other, anything here? Okay, old business? All right, Travis Wilbur, determination?
Yes, and there was one other thing, the determination of written for the I think it's.
I wasn't here.
And I know Maggie had sent the link to the,
So today.
yeah, today she sent that.
For the escrow.
Yeah, for the escrow amount, and as Mike pointed out, it looks like your drafts have been corrected. The total number that was originally billed back in 2023 is 3,717. So I believe the drafts that you guys have are corrected, but the one that was originally posted online had
Yeah, I know.
Oh. It's a public hearing last week.
yeah, you guys had the public. This stuff, and- No, this was back in June 10th.
Oh,
So June 10th was when the public hearing was, so it was actually here.
Okay. I wasn't there.
You weren't at that meeting.
But you can't vote.
she left early.
She's been
I was
apprised.
here for like 15 minutes or something.
So this was that.
Oh, What's
Technically, you
the-
can review
what's the-
the information, but if you don't feel comfortable, then you guys can basically, adjourn it to vote at the next meeting.
Seems all.
Well, his.
I don't even know what it's.
It's Travis here.
This is one of those.
No,
he's not here.
Hearings.
Didn't.
So basically, he was billed in 2023, and then recently he received an additional bill for $1,600.
In other words,
I definitely have some problems with this based on looking at the dates. You're getting two different bills, which overlap in the dates. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, I know what this is.
That
You
as
see,
well.
like this one,
I know what this is.
it's 3-2, but then it ends on 223. How does it end on 223 if it started on 3-2?
Well, and there's a
And no
couple
one
other
right
things.
above it, it ends on 228. So those bills just. Yeah, that's over $2,000 and it's just, doesn't make sense.
He had money in escrow that was just sitting there. It had not been returned to him.
For 2 weeks.
So,
And he hadn't been billed for it or given him something.
so I'm not sure how much money he's getting back. He should be getting back
think
about
it would be-
$1,600,
no, it would be.
It
the
would be
escrow.
whatever is remaining.
or whatever's remaining,
Yeah.
that was remaining, plus
That
this
was
bill
not-
is.
In other words, what this whole determination is, that we are waiving the,
Well, you're not waiving anything. You're basically saying that
Just
they did not
using the
comply
escrow.
with the statute
okay.
by sending him the monthly bill within 30 days and basically for it. And it here has been 2 years.
It has been,
Um,
and return his escrow.
yeah, so basically returning whatever is left in the escrow.
Should the returning of the escrow money be in
Which
here?
would be
Oh,
seven
here it
eighty-two.
is, 1630.
782.
Well, the 1630
That's the
is,
return of the
is,
escrow.
well, it's not the return
No,
of the
it's not.
escrow. That is what, we're saying is not, that's what's claimed is currently owed.
Got it.
So we're saying that's no longer due and owed. So if you actually take the
I think it's
3,000, which was
855.
paid, he paid in 4,500, 3,700, was 3,717.50 was what was previously billed in 2023. So the difference between the 45 he had deposited is the 847.50.
If it's,
So that would be what would be returned. But basically, the new bill that you received now 2 years later is stating that he owes $1,630.
So wait, so how much are we waiving?
We're not waiving anything. You're
I'm sorry, not
basically-
waiving.
So you
We're
received the
right.
bill 2 years
I'm
later
sorry.
for $1,630.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, you guys are saying that, and I can read it, that you're making a resolution that since the planning board failed to remit to the applicant the summary of the escrow charges and balance on a monthly basis as required by section 19.4G of the code, following approval of the application, and you guys are finding that due to this failure, consistent with chapter 19, the board has adjusted the fees owed so that the outstanding fees claimed in the amount of $1,630 are no longer due and owed. You're also resolving that the funds that he already paid for the consulting fees in the amount of the 3,017.50 constitutes full payment for reasonable and necessary consulting fees, and that no further consulting fees shall be assessed. So since everything he paid will no longer be assessed, what remains in there was not billed against that will be returned.
782.
Yes.
Or
And
not
this,
assessed,
and this
847.50.
amount is minus the,
847.50.
right, minus the 1630, that's the amount that you just read off that.
Yes,
Then you pay it.
that you
that
paid.
was already, yeah, that he
Okay.
already paid.
So it's only the 1630 that just recently got billed.
Yes, that was billed 2 years later. That basically isn't compliant with that, and you guys are finding that that's not due. And as a result, you will get a refund of the $847.50 that is remaining. Is that true?
I thought the refund
Actually,
was,
780.
yeah, it's 782.
782.
Oh, yep, 7.
I just
The
have,
difference was the difference between taking the 1630, taking the 782.50 off the 1630 was the 847 something.
Yeah, the-
Hopefully
Yeah,
I'm not
that would have
quoting
been
anything.
the
That he would have
additional that
voted.
he would have had
Yes.
to function.
Exactly.
Correct.
I have a question to ask you since your brother's not here. Is this case closed?
Yes, it
It
was closed
in
back in,
2023.
exactly. Matt Jankowski's right.
Yeah.
He didn't receive any correspondence after he closed it in like October, I believe. His solar panels are in and he never received anything for almost a year. And then he got this $1,630 bill and that's what made him contact the town.
The same planning board was in place at that time?
Yes.
No, I believe that they were just trying to correct the escrow issues and finding out that there were these additional bills that.
So none of these bills, for the 1630, these came on
They're from, it has to.
May 2023.
Um,
They were in on May 23rd, May 2023. He didn't know it.
and then it's on the bill.
Okay, are we, okay. I make a motion to accept the findings of this determination.
It would
There was some edited there.
Yeah,
Right. There's an edit there. On the third whereas. Whereas the hearing is closed on June 10th, 2025, the town will table issue a decision until today,
July 8th.
July 8th, 2025.
All right.
All
I
right.
make a
so
motion to
to
amend.
adopt, yeah, to
Amend.
adopt the amended decision.
I'll second it. All right, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the amended,
We just did it.
I
We just
make a
did.
motion to
We're
accept,
done.
accept the, amendment.
That's what you get.
We just did.
Next order of business.
The next order of business is, I talked with the crosswalks, the transfer station shed has now been completed. They have now moved into the transfer station shed, everything's done. That's taken care of, and, the whole item, the whole total bill of this and budget was, we budgeted $12,900. Counts to be like 30, out to be maybe $50 more.
Okay.
Oh, like that, sorry. We didn't budget.
Excellent. And if it's good, they're happy, it's that much better than it was.
I was there this morning with them.
Yes.
We inaugurated with cracking a soda bottle on it.
Okay.
And they didn't move it.
What?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they need.
All right,
But
good.
they are gonna be moving in tomorrow.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. All right, next thing, I guess, the highway department referendum, Superintendent 48 time. This is for discussion. All right, I guess, Michael, you want to talk about it?
Come to the mic, Mike.
I suppose because I think that the highway superintendent position should be a 4-year term. When I finish my term out, I think that to get a good person, good people into that position, I think that you gotta offer some stability. It's a non-voting person. We serve everybody in town. And, most of the towns around us have gone for 4 years, either recently or further back. I will get all the exact, quotes where I'll talk to the president tomorrow on that. I didn't figure into the, formula with the, biennial law that's coming about. So I don't know what's gonna go on with that. I'll have to find out more on that tomorrow. The only thing I was asking the board is to do tonight is to set a public hearing on it. So that, you can actually have some discussion of public on it. And, no decision has to be made until after that public hearing, if we're to put it into effect. So I think that will be a lot more information. But if we could set a public hearing on it and hear from the public also, and I think that, it would be a good thing for the town, especially after our meeting gets some stability.
So the public hearing would be at the next board meeting?
Yes.
It would have to be.
And the
in.
decision would be made at that board meeting.
Well, here's the thing, on August 22nd, the next board meeting, the decision has to be made then because, it has to be the referendum has to be given to the county by August 4th, to make it to the ballot.
Right. The next meeting's the only one you have in between.
And really, it's the board's decision to put it on the referendum and then allows the public to vote on it. It's just my opinion. I'm just one person, but it's my opinion that the voters would be the ones that decide, not 5 board members. The 5 board members only decide to put it up as a public hearing in a local law, and then the referendum come out, and the voters will make a decision on, if they want that or not.
Here's the thing too, like, we tabled this decision until we have a full board here on the 22nd, and then the 22nd, schedule a public hearing. We will make notice what that.
And when would this take effect? If it was passed on the referendum
If it can be
passed?
put on the referendum, however, under the local law, it says the referendum for the biannual election, which again, that's being challenged, but technically it's supposed to be even years, so it may not even legally be able to be on the ballot for this year.
This year.
That's what-
The other thing is the ultimate effect of it. It's regardless how it affects the terms of the people who are elected this year, is going to be the same, whether it's on the ballot
This year.
2025 or 2026.
Right.
So, it's really,
It's a key one, yeah.
it comes down to how important is it for you guys to have it on the ballot this year? The ultimate impact is going to be the same, whether it's on the ballot this year or on the ballot next year.
Meaning that it wouldn't
Change.
take effect, meaning that it wouldn't take effect
Until
on
these
January
positions are
1st,
elected
twenty
again.
twenty-six.
Yeah.
It wouldn't take effect.
Well, and potentially,
They have to vote again
it
anyway.
may not even be valid if the Johnson.
Well, as it stands right now, the way the law is right now, I know it's being challenged, but let's say the way it is right now, if we put it on the referendum in November, let's say it passes, it wouldn't take effect.
In
January.
2000, January 2027.
So,
Neither of them,
Twenty-seven.
none of these positions are up for election next. They're all.
Mike's up for election.
That's this year.
Mike's up for election this year.
He's got to go back to,
He's gotta go back.
to an even number, so it wouldn't.
Well, but we're saying if
But
that board
if
doesn't
that
pass.
is the effect, that then this can only occur on the biennial town election year. So either way, then it can't be on for this year, 2020, or it wouldn't be,
in effect on
yeah.
twenty
You
twenty-six.
couldn't technically put it on this ballot. So look at the state, or town
Where do
law,
you-
okay?
Town law,
Yes.
not superseded by
All
what the new law is
elected
going to be.
officials. No, the new law is you're talking about, where the law is basically what's defining the biennial year, okay? And this referendum can only be put in on the
This
biennial,
can be put in, so it can only put in if the biennial.
no, in an election.
Right, if the biennial is defeated.
But technically, yeah.
Yes, if the biennial law, which is now in court, is defeated, and we go back to the old way, then it can be on the referendum.
Correct.
And it can't be on the ballot.
The base of what I've heard in the Board of Election. Most likely.
So what you're saying is in the event that he has to be reelected next year, then this doesn't go, this would not go down. But if he doesn't, then it doesn't make a difference.
Correct. I'm almost positive he's running again next year. If the law.
Yeah, no, if the law continues,
If the law continues,
One person doesn't have to run next year.
it's Debbie, she's 40.
Gabby and whoever wins the other spot based on.
in other words, if the law passes, the biennial law, Michael,
Well,
myself, and you.
If it's upheld.
Yeah, what I'm understanding is that if we get elected to 2-year terms this year, we'd have to run again next year.
Correct.
Mhm.
If you do the 3-year term, then you would have to run in.
You still make
Just
the
have to
You'd have to run in 2028.
did a 4-year term,
That's
but
what
we do
the 4-year
the 3
term.
years.
No, he's right, he's right.
So here's the thing, if you want to vote to put it to a hearing, either way, you're preserving the ability to potentially put it in if you need to. But this definitely warrants a lot more discussion and potentially reaching out to the Board of Elections to see if it can even technically go on the ballot.
I think this needs,
So they
that's my
said-
whole point is I
They
think
said
this
it
needs
could,
more.
again, I've written off an email after I got back from the seat there to the association, New York State Association of Town Highway Superintendents, to get some clarification. And I'll be meeting with the secretary of our county organization tomorrow morning, Brian Burns, who's kind of all, Cause he got all the pictures when he went to, Ithaca for high school. But, you know, I wasn't even considering that when I put this forward to the board because I wasn't sure that, you know, biennial was gonna go through. I thought that it was sort of, it looks like it's gonna go through, so that put the whole other thing in. So that, not everybody gets elected this year, has got to run again next year,
Yeah.
get on at 2006.
But the one thing is really like scheduling for a public hearing
It's
doesn't
not-
mean you have to
That's
act
right,
on
doesn't
it.
mean we have to act, that's what I'm saying to you is we have to pass this on the 22nd.
No, all we have to do right now is pass a public hearing, have a public
Right.
hearing 22nd, and then decide then whether we
You
want.
don't have to.
Because I think all these questions need to be answered.
Right. I think,
I'm
we'll-
just- I'm
I
not
agree.
saying I'm for or against it, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying there's a lot of information we need to.
I understand, but the thing is, by passing this,
Yep.
like this, we have the option.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Well, there's also some sentiment for making the other 2-year terms, 4-year terms
Yeah,
as
that
well.
would be my,
So-
I think that's a
Well,
discussion that
So
should be had because it makes sense for a lot of these other positions.
I think talking about it more in the coming year, more soon. And discussing all 3 positions at a 2-year term.
It's just a distraction for the people doing the work. For you, the supervisor, for myself, it's just a distraction, so.
Yeah, sure.
There's also cons to it,
Yes, no.
right? So if somebody gets in and now they're in for 4 years and they're not doing the job, we as the town board have no, right? We don't have much control over
I'll
that.
find out.
I'll find out for that.
We have
The
some,
election, the voters have the control.
Right, but then it's 4
Regardless,
years.
for now, yes, 4 years as opposed.
So I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying I'm for or against it. Don't anybody take it that way. I just want to understand the both sides of it and how it will legally work and when it goes into effect. I just want to understand all that. So we're making fun of it.
But again, the only thing that the board will be doing is to vote for on a referendum to let all the voters decide. And they.
But
if
there's
we
more
decide.
questions. There's more questions, right? Now that we're talking about other, people are talking about the other positions. It's,
right. But here's the thing, here's the thing. If we, have a public hearing on the 22nd, we still have the option as a board to say, no. We don't want that thing. We can vote on it.
Yeah.
From the start all
And that's
over.
on
So
the.
you're not voting, you're voting on the local law, which has to be approved by. So either way, like basically this will preserve your ability if you guys do so choose to put it on, whether you can legally put it on or not.
Yes.
You know, if you wanna schedule for a hearing, really wouldn't necessarily have anything you're losing.
right, right.
But
Those decisions.
I think it definitely warrants like much more discussion, not just at the hearing, but moving forward, or I think.
And I think that-
The factors outside.
And I like the idea of the people on the road will say,
Well, no matter what, they.
No matter
Whether
what.
you do it this
Oh,
year, whether you do it
decide.
next year,
That's what we have
whether you do
to
it
I
3
like
years
to see
from
the
now,
option.
there's always gonna be a public hearing for the public to voice their opinion. There's always gonna be the public referendum, which is required, it's mandatory. So,
So we can come with more information at the next.
yes.
Well, if you don't set a public hearing, there's no sense of going forward, so you.
I just said, we're gonna do that, but then, well,
We
we'll
all-
vote on it,
I'll get everything this week, I'll get everything in here.
more information. And more details about the whole process.
All right, create a resolution here.
It's here.
Making motions.
It's on the
Well,
screen.
we're trying to find a resolution.
It's, right
if
here.
you have the number for the local.
It's here.
Local law.
It's on the screen. It's in the packet.
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
Everyone was technically last year.
This Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Right, so what are the blanks? You're to fill in the blanks?
A local law number, so I think, that there was one other local law, that was passed earlier this
This
year.
year,
So
and
this would
the ambulance
then,
was last year.
this would be proposed local law to,
None of the public hearings we had, any of these. chapter 9. Yes,
Those
No.
aren't local laws.
So just, they're based on local law.
So all the blank.
Two.
What's the one with the-
The three.
one, two, three, four,
It's in the beginning. It's more towards the park.
six, seven, eight, nine, 10.
It's on the backside.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. It's all those blanks.
Okay.
Local laws, so. Okay. That can't be the fourth place. I make a motion, we accept the resolution. We put the public hearing date for the proposed local law number 2025. Local law known as a local law for extension of terms for elected offices,
As amended.
as amended.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Your
What discussion? Sorry.
You discussed.
Roll call.
I will. Any further discussion? All right, roll call. Aye.
Deb?
Debbie?
I,
Ray, absent.
And,
And,
then, August 22nd.
July 22nd.
July 22nd.
Said July.
You said August.
July 22nd.
Yeah.
Will be the, public hearing,
What, 6 P.M.
6 P.M.
we just need to.
Yes. Okay, the next thing is, by the way, we have a public hearing also, and this is the unsafe, this is going back a bit. Unsafe building on Hand Mountain Road, SBL 37.2-4-63-.100. We were just notified by the owner and by Kingston Rental that they're going to demolish the building.
There's what?
They're going to demolish the building.
Oh.
All right, so,
Where is this building?
it's on the Hand Mountain
Yeah,
Road.
lost.
It's the first page.
Oh, here. Oh, okay.
And that's Paul's, note.
Yeah, that's the.
All right, and this is, on O'Hare Mountain Road, it's in the cabin, it's in the woods.
Mhm.
We were notified some, neighbors, or saw it, we notified Paul went to look at it, and it has to come down.
Okay.
Right, it took a long time to locate the owner, because it was a trust for the owner's mother, and that's where the, all the notifications went there. And finally, we got it to the daughter. And she contacted Kingston Rentals just today, and they said that they're gonna go and they're gonna demolish the building.
So the owner will demolish.
Right, the thing is, we still need to have a public hearing.
Yeah, you should still make a
So go
motion to
ahead.
open the public hearing, allow anyone who's here from the public to speak on it. You guys can have further discussion either now or at the next meeting. Hopefully, you'll know what's being done with the property by that.
I make a motion to open public hearing on the unsafe building. Do I have a second?
Second.
That discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is taking forever.
I have an email from Pat Damrow. As requested, both her husband and she are definitely in favor of ensuring the safety of said premises diagonally across the street from our home at 766 Ohio Mountain Road. This has been a concern of ours for over 25 years, and we are pleased to see it's finally being addressed. Sincerely, Pat and Bill Damrow.
Anybody else?
Oh, we did talk. Can I get your name, please?
Keating, or Dave Keating, Dave,
Dave.
yes,
Thank you.
D-A-V-E, last name K-E-A-T-I-N-G, 46 Wittenberg Road. So I have a neighbor who wasn't able to be here, and he said, he looked up the parcel number on Ulster GIS and it doesn't exist.
So which one? Because I know there was on the notice, there was an error that was discovered after the fact, where there were two separate on one part of the notice. It had 37.2-4-63.100, and then in another portion, it was I guess error number.
Which is the correct?
The one that does exist. I believe it's 37.2-4-63.100.
100.
And that's on this document.
It's on the,
It's a big piece of property. It actually drops down to that old, to where the post office is, the
Right.
Glenwood. But then it goes over on the other side
Yeah,
of Ohio Mountain Road. So it's over in that vicinity where the shed is.
right, right.
And the public notice does have the
Correct.
parcel number. I think it was just those were the notices that were sent to the individual property owners, which is a courtesy by the town,
Yeah.
not anything required by law.
Right.
But it should have the correct somewhere. There should be two, I think, what was
Okay,
it?
so maybe after you can point to the right one, so we can
Yeah.
actually look it up.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's the same lot as the post office.
It's not the same.
Behind the
lot. It's behind it, but it crosses, it's on both sides of Ohio Mountain Road.
The property that they own is a lot of, how many acres?
You guys have these submissions from fall?
The property that they own is like this big triangle, like it has this little piece that comes down to the one road, but most of
You just have.
Most of it's on Ohio Mountain Road and it goes to the other side of Ohio Mountain Road. So if you're coming up Ohio Mountain Road, it would be on the right-hand side. This shed, that sometimes you can't see it at this time of year.
Yeah, so it's right across.
Right.
Yeah, and there's actually two.
There's two sheds in there.
On that notice you have there, what's the?
Do you
SPL number?
have from the hearings, the stuff that Paul had submitted, there were pictures and, or not from the last time, when we voted to schedule for it?
What meeting would that have been if I would have them maybe posted?
It would have been the 16th.
The June 16th meeting?
What number lot do you have there?
SBL 47.2-4-64.100.
Okay.
So that should be 6-3.
Dash 6-3. This is dash 6-3.
SBL 37.2-4-64.
Stop. 6-3.
You have internet here?
I do, yes.
It's 6-3, not 6-4.
Say again, please. What do you want me to open?
Yeah, you want to open the Ulster parcel here?
Also county parcel.
Is that the-
And what am I typing in? SBL,
Yeah, 37.
one second, let me get rid of this. Hold on.
37.2.
SBL or address, so probably 37, give me a second, guys, 37.2
-4
-4 -63.100. And
You want to get rid of the bottom.
does that look right, guys?
That's it, right.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
That's it, man.
Yeah, I see what you mean about it being both sides of the road, right? This is Ohio Mountain, right?
That's the correct one.
See, that's over at 28.
Right.
Oh,
This is Ohio Mountain, right?
right there,
The green, and it's,
Yes.
right.
and it's on both sides of the road.
The shed's on the right side.
Yeah, so everywhere that is green, that is the parcel. It's a very large parcel,
Right.
approximately 16.6 acres.
So the shed is on the right side of Ohio Mountain Road in that green area.
This is Glenford Way. Yes.
Yes,
So that,
Right, okay.
okay?
So they're gonna tear down sheds. There's also a for sale sign, so they could sell that whole property, I mean,
We don't know. The only thing that they have power to do is once they have recognized this as an unsafe structure, to order them to either tear it down or to basically have the town pay to have it torn down and then put it on the tax assessment.
So who's responsible for tearing it down, or the property owner?
So the property owner will either do it, or once they've made this declaration and upheld it, they make a decision after this hearing. Then if the property owner doesn't do it within 30 days, they could pay to have it done, the town could pay to have it done, and then add it.
You keep saying multiple, there's multiple.
Yeah, if you're coming down, if you come down Glenford Wittenberg Road, right in front of it, there's another shack there.
Show, what's up?
So this is Glenford Wittenberg Road. Take a left, you take a left up here, that's heading towards Woodstock, right there.
Oh, that's
Another
what.
one, and the ones we're talking about is right here.
Oh, that's
It's a different parcel.
That's a different parcel.
What about the one in the green?
Right here.
Yes.
So this is, and then like a little bit over here.
So that can be something that, you guys can talk to the building inspector. Basically, the building inspector identifies unsafe structures, and then he makes the initial determination that it's unsafe, and then he brings that information before the board. So he's only brought information, before the board pertaining to one structure. But if there is, potentially,
I mean, we just do it all over again. I don't know. I mean, there's another structure.
Must be on a different lot.
Here's your question, that structure that you, the second structure,
Yeah.
that, dilapidated also?
Yeah,
They both are?
you can see it.
If you see the one, you can see the other.
Yeah, if there's a driveway there, and if you look, if you're coming down Glenford Wittenberg Road, the drive, and you're gonna take a right, go Old Route 28 or a left to Woodstock, there's a driveway like right there, and that other structure that is not identified here is to the right of that driveway. And the structure we're talking about is to the left of that driveway.
Okay, so you're saying there's two structures there, we identified one of them, the second structure there. I'm in contact with the owner. I will call in the morning, and I will, inquire whether they'll take both buildings down.
Maybe that's a different parcel, I don't really.
Might
One
be
of them
that,
is for
what's that,
sale.
38
One of the shacks is
dash
is for sale.
One of the shack is for sale?
Yeah, it's at 7730 Hale Mountain Road, Glenford. It's contingent. I was talking to Paul about it today. That's a looks like a shack to me.
Used to belong to Harvey Schultes. You go back in the.
7730 Hale Mountain Road, Glenford, New York.
Looking at this, it looks like it's on a different parcel.
That one is currently for sale and contingent,
So
That's okay, that's.
it's a different
property then.
parcel.
That's the same.
but I think it's in the same vicinity.
Right, but it's on the other side of Glenford
It might
Wittenberg.
be one of those shacks that.
So is this hearing, this public hearing, are we talking about that one that's for sale or just?
No,
No.
we're talking about the other one.
The other one's not on that property.
I see. I was confusing the two.
It is very confusing. The
I'm
sign is
sorry, I
confusing.
apologize.
It's all
Jeremy,
confusing.
put the arrow on the right.
And here's the map. It appears 773, which is north of Glenford Wittenberg Road, is on a different parcel, because you're talking about this parcel.
Right.
The other one appears to be up here.
Because we didn't have the correct parcel number.
Sorry.
we couldn't look it up, so that's part of it.
Okay. Call me.
I think it's this-
Well, put it this way, the parcel on right there, we pointing, right there.
Right there.
That's coming down.
That's coming.
Right, and it's the one for sale, we just said we.
Well, they're probably, they're not that
Yeah.
bad.
Sorry, because there's a lot of construction work happening on O'Hare Lawn Road next to the firehouse. Two structures going up. And this one, that is not this parcel that we're talking about, is for sale.
Mhm.
Yes.
Contingent, sold.
It's just a little shack.
It's just a little shack.
It's not a
10%.
house.
Not that.
Sign saying unsafe.
Okay, so this is a helpful clarification. Probably.
If you feel,
Sorry about the error.
if you feel,
Sorry about
that-
Fine.
I apologize for that.
No, I just want to be clear, because obviously this is why.
It is
we
very
attend public
confusing.
hearings to clarify them.
Two of them.
That said, can we see that again? Just
What do you need, the map or the parcel view?
The parcel. This is what's for sale.
Yeah.
If this parcel is this for sale sign? This is-
Correct.
No, the one that's for sale is only 0.5 of an acre.
So it's probably the one where my arrow is now.
Oh, this one right here.
Yes, and it shows a shack,
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
okay. I was
But where
confused.
where the sign for sale is, it is more situated on the other parcel with the shack that looks like it needs to be
Thank you.
demoed.
Yeah, because I
Yes.
did go, look.
okay,
Yes,
here's what we'll do, if you feel that is an unsafe, contact Paul Economy.
No, I.
but at this point, if it's for sale, whoever's
Doesn't make
gonna,
difference, how it still has to be taken care of,
Should still be.
for sale or not.
So what
I'm more
parcel is that
concerned about
on?
sales, but
Yeah.
it's the safe, there's no hiccups up there.
All right.
It's squirrels or whatever.
Okay, we're fine, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all for your service.
I just want to also update on the Stangle property. on Old Route 209?
Yeah.
Well, we're in
Did you
the
finish
hearing
this
right now,
hearing?
so
Yeah.
let's complete the
Anybody
hearing,
else
and then
want
you
to
can
speak?
talk, please,
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there any sort of status on the post office, like what's happening with that building?
So this hearing is pertaining, you can ask questions during public comment, but this is a
Only
hearing
this one.
pertaining to this unsafe structure at this particular location. So if anyone else wants to talk regarding the unsafe structure at this particular location, now's the time. Time to talk about other matters, will be at the end.
At the end, we'll have another public comment. You can-
All right, any other discussion, any other wish to speak on this matter? I make a motion to close public hearing on the unsafe building. Second, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I want to update also on the Stangle property, which is on Route 209. We have spoken to the owner, we're giving him 30 days. Another 30 days, in 30 days, he has to take care of that, otherwise we'll go in and take care of it. We have given him 60 days so far. And nothing
Excuse
has been achieved in 60 days. 30 more days, we're gonna go inside and take, we're in contact with them, and we're now giving them a deadline. 30 days to get that taken care of. Okay. All right, so I guess we finished with all business and public hearing?
Yep.
All right. Okay, new business, deputy clerk position, temporary to potential term. What's happening is we have a deputy clerk right now that's on a legal absence. We are not quite sure if that legal absence is going to be extended, or whether she's going to come back in that. So we'd like to actually have a resolution to hire a deputy clerk position, temporary, that may turn into a permanent position if the current deputy clerk that's on leave does not resign. Do we have a resolution?
We don't. No, it's just down for discussion, I believe.
All right, so we can have a resolution, next time. Any discussion on that?
When is the leave supposed to be over?
She has up to July 31st.
To decide and September 1st to,
Wait, we have it July 31st.
that's when she's supposed to make a decision. I said if she needed to come back, if she made a decision and she needed to come back on September 1st, I said that was okay.
All right, so
So
we
she's
can,
Because I'll be
gonna let us
there
know
anytime.
at the end of
She's supposed to
July.
let me know at the end of July whether she intends to return or not. And then she'll return as soon as, I told her she can't return later than September 1st. Right now, it's not a bad idea to have somebody that can step in if need be, or if she doesn't come, it's nice to start looking before that,
okay.
Sure, can't work anymore. Turn 10, the other 10, part-time, we can't work anymore.
She's going back to school.
It's college student.
Molly.
Now you're going back to school.
Oh, Molly may be able to work a few hours, because she's not gonna live in the
Okay,
dorm.
well,
Full-time. She's like,
Well, we're gonna-
she's going full-time.
but then we'll know at the end of July if she's coming back, she'll have till September. So if we find out at the end of July she's not coming back,
We have a temporary right now in there.
and then we'll have a month to.
Look.
Can we do the resolution now?
It doesn't exist.
No resolution to do.
We could do it on the 22nd.
Well, we'll be looking to her for, whatever.
Yeah, the thing is-
There won't be any point.
She might decide sooner.
2 days at August. So we have like the 4 weeks in August to look for a permanent solution for that.
Anyway,
We're gonna find out on the 31st.
we're gonna find out anyway if she's coming back or not, so we won't need the resolution. But I think it's
Okay.
not a bad idea to see what's available in case we need a temp to fill in for such a situation
Okay.
in the future.
All right, we'll have it 11 and 20 seconds.
So I think it's a good idea anyway,
Okay,
okay?
all right, next one is appointing members of the Ethics Committee. All right.
That's her.
This is a resolution to appoint the Ethics Committee members. Be resolved that the Town Board of Town of Berlin appoint the following individuals to the Ethics Committee through the term expiration dates indicated or until their successors appointed. Debbie Kosar till 12/2025. Benita Johnson, 12/2027. Allison, no, it's not Allison Campbell, it's Amanda Campbell. Amanda, All right, to 12/31/2020, and we staggered it, as you can see. We have two members on the board right now, and that is,
John
Joan
Passion.
Passion and, Bruckner, Carl Bruckner. Those are the five.
And the ethics committee only meets, should I wait till we,
As needed.
Well, they meet as needed. It's the only mandatory,
once a year?
no, it's basically as needed. So if there are any ethics complaints, they have to meet, but the only mandatory reason each year that they have to meet under the statute is to review and make sure that the annual financial disclosures have been submitted. So if they can do that in one meeting and there's no complaints or anything like that, ethics complaints, then technically they don't need to meet again.
Okay, yeah, just,
But,
I guess my only concern, Deb's on the planning board, and she's the vice chair, which is a big role at a time.
And she's not in the house.
And she's now gonna be on the housing committee, that's.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no, I brought that up. There's no prohibition, but at the same time, ideally, we would have people on this committee that are not serving in any other
Right.
fashions.
Right.
However, right now, we don't have a quorum, and there is still review that needs to be done of annual financial disclosures. And Debbie Kosar, if she is appointed, she will expire, or her term will expire by 12/31 this year. So I think between now and then you should be looking for additional other people who would potentially be able to serve in this capacity.
Jeremy sent me, today, he sent me in.
Today or a couple of days, within the last couple of days, yeah, we got a request through that online survey we do, so there's another name in the mix.
There was nobody else in the past that submitted and said ethics committee?
I can look.
I believe everybody that we have, like 7 people, have been appointed to the committees here and there. I don't think we have it. I think we just have one more. person. One that just,
I mean,
right now.
we can always change it if we have somebody else too.
Well, what's the fact also, we have, now we have 5. Ideally, we have 7, but it's still.
Okay, just bring it up at the committee, she's on other committees.
And if you want, you can make a motion to amend it so that only the other 2 are being appointed. And you can motion to do that, whatever. So that's what, your discussion is for. The only thing that I would recommend is that you at least get 1 or 2 of these people appointed so that we have a quorum for it.
Okay, and how many do we need for more?
You would need 3.
And we have 2
I have 2 right now.
right now.
And then,
But
but
one
then.
of those is also on the planning
I
board.
believe it's a 5-member board with 2.
Carl Bruckner?
5 member.
So
One of those is also on the planning board.
Yeah, the one I just sent you was this guy, Kevin Wazlowski. That was the one I sent you the other day. The only other ethics interests we've gotten are the people on this resolution.
I'm just curious if there's anybody else.
Yeah, you're good.
So what's your take on that, on the fact that we have 2 people on there that are.
Well, I think that, obviously, any issues arise, ethics issues arise with action taken by their board or anything related to them, they would have to recuse themselves. They obviously can't review their own financial disclosures and sign them, but that would be the case regardless, because they should be submitting in their capacity as a board.
Right.
But as I said, moving forward, I think that should be, although it's not required, I think it should be, you guys should look for in new board members, particularly to this board, is that they're not serving in any other capacity.
Okay, well, there is, we do have someone, we have Joan Passion.
And Joe is serving on the, is the chair of CAC on the comp plan.
CAC, CRC.
Yeah, there's no legal probe in it, but just moving forward, I think that.
when you get to the situation with the planning board, you have those
Yes,
those
it's
2
on the
members,
planning board.
you still have a quorum. You still have a quorum. Year.
Yeah, but we can do, like, we give the planning board, we can have alternate members then.
You can definitely do it, but, you know.
And in other words, like this one person that was mentioned, be an alternate member.
Kozlowski, yeah.
This way, if they, if someone has to recuse himself, he has steps in their place.
You have to make a resolution to have an alternate member, would you not?
Yes.
Yeah. I would just recommend that you, in the very least, appoint somebody today so that we have a quorum. They should get on top of,
Just making sure you're pursuing.
Make a motion?
and it can be however you guys want. You can do it, for one person here, 2 people here, all 3,
Yeah, I'll find you.
I will say that there is set a precedent with Carl on that.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
No, and it has been done many times in the past. I'm not aware of any time in the past decade where there wasn't a member on the ethics board who wasn't.
It's
on
just
some-
it's sad that we can't get more. We have 6,000 people in town of Hurley. We can't get more people to get some. Yeah.
My experience has been, you gotta talk to people face to face.
Yeah.
Just sending the blast out, people are bombarded with information constantly. Most people just, unless it's something they're particularly looking for, they overlook it, they don't pay attention to it.
Sorry.
But you know, it's interesting also, Jeremy, that we had something like 7 people volunteer, and all 7 were selected to be on boards already.
Yeah.
And I would just have this one person.
There's one other person, yeah, but when you're looking for more, you tell me, like with John and the rec committee, we'll just shove out the message again.
Have the rec committee-
For housing,
Yeah.
I think we've done that, but I will double check. We're looking for 2 more. I believe we've done that.
So we do have under our statute that there's 3 board members and up to 3 alternates. to be appointed.
Okay, so,
All right.
who seconded the motion?
I motion the resolution to appoint ethics committee members.
But you have to change,
Second the
you have to,
motion,
And do you want to say one of the things that you could do is, be listed as an alternate, so that if you appoint somebody else, they can be a full member, and then she's an alternate if needed. That way we can kind of be moving away from having.
Yeah,
Let's do this.
okay, let's do that.
Let's wait until we get. One of,
Do the whole thing, there's an urgency to get a quorum.
Yeah, I would say that, why not?
Why don't we just amend it and have Debbie become an alternate, and then we can put somebody else in.
So basically, amending the motion to, read, that,
And just explain to her why.
be resolved by the town board of the town of Hurley to appoint the following individuals to the ethics committee through the term expiration dates indicated or until the successor is appointed. Deborah Kosar, alternate,
So is there an end
appointed
date for
through.
that?
We can still do the
Yeah,
same
same
date.
day.
Anita Johnson. And then, changing the name to Amanda, not
Yeah.
Ellen.
Amanda.
Okay, I'll motion, the resolution as amended to appoint ethics committee member.
okay, I have a discussion, I have a question.
Okay,
Who
We have,
seconded?
so I motioned amended resolution.
I got it.
And Joe seconded.
my question is, why is the reason we moved that to, alternate? Two, of course, she's on the planning board, so is Carl Bruckner.
There's like 2 others.
She's the vice chair, I don't know.
She's the vice
Well,
chair
it's one of
and
those-
she's gonna be in the housing committee.
If we want to move to establish to have this a completely independent board that eventually has all, she can still serve in this capacity as an alternate when needed, but if we're appointing other people who aren't serving on other boards, it makes this a.
So basically, we get to come back and revisit it.
Well, we're gonna have to revisit it for this new individual.
If that's, if
And
he's a good
it's
fit.
one of those things, that,
Yeah, that's-
Talking to myself.
when Carl Bruckner's.
I was just gonna say, what's his term and.
Yeah, and then reappoint him as an
As an alternate, correct.
Okay. All right.
Don't. Okay,
How do you vote?
I'll be done with discussion.
Done with discussion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now the next one is the housing committee. Joe, you want to do this?
I didn't even know that was on.
Okay.
So for the housing committee, whereas the town of Hurley has created a housing advisory committee chaired by me, and whereas the chair has interviewed candidates for the committee who will serve for 3 years with a term ending on December 31st, 2010, therefore be it resolved by the town board of town of Hurley to appoint the following individuals to the housing advisory committee through December 31st, 2027. Those individuals are Neil Blackadder, Deborah Kozer, Cheryl Pettis, and Michael Webb.
And you're looking for 2 more beyond this you want us,
We need to put 5 to 7.
so you want me to make sure we advertise for 2 more? Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Well, hold on a second. The discussion is reason it being is having a housing committee. Is that there are grants?
Yes.
And we have to actually, the housing committee has to come and, agree to, something called pro-housing. I think we've been named as the advisory committee. And if we agree to it, and it's sort of with Kai,
Kai has not been answering me. I don't know. And I called his office multiple times, sent him multiple emails. I'm like, because I want him to come to the meeting, because he wanted to be at the first one. And I keep having to delay it because he's not available. Well, no, but I mean, we nominated these people.
Just this discussion, though.
Yeah.
All right, I will contact Kai.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And
All right. Thanks.
next one is just basically, this is formality, and this is a resolution to accept the 1.325 million grant from the DFC, for the closed landfill for a study on the solution here. We've discussed it before. And then the motion.
Any further discussion?
Discussion?
Can you have a second before a motion?
All in favor?
All right.
I
Okay, the next one is, we're looking for RFP. This is a resolution to authorize the issuance of an RFP to refurbish, stabilize, and resurface sections of the Hurley Rail Trail. And just to give a brief discussion, Hudson Valley Greenway has received funds for rail trail. And so we have identified an area that needs to be done, and we identified an area around Vessel Road where it's mud, it's dirt path.
It's not Bethel Road, isn't it the entrance that just before Bethel
Before
Road?
Bethel
when you
Road.
go south,
Well,
it's
it's
the
a-
entrance, and it's where
The rail
people
trail.
park,
Right. It's the
just
parking
where
lot there.
people park.
So in other words, basically is that we are gonna, for our RFP to get a paving, that paving area, plus also, to reinforce the bridges that
It's my
are,
understanding, it won't be paving it, they'll be
Rail- rail trail.
resurfacing it with crushed stone
we
and.
call it rail trail mix.
But that's parking lot?
That's for the parking lot
I
and
think that,
also,
my understanding, is part of the trail itself going from there. So the area is, I think that you were walking.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right there, walk it all the time. So the parking lot would be paved and then it would be
Well,
crushed
not
stone?
paved.
and that's paving.
Not
Nothing's
paved.
paved. They're just bringing in crushed stone
Okay.
and.
I like that.
Right, that's what they're gonna bring in. And
Okay.
And Greenway is gone.
Hmm?
Greenway is a typo.
Greenaway.
Greenaway.
Just, I think it's Greenway.
It is. Hudson Valley Greenaway.
All right. So you're gonna motion as amended?
As amended with the,
Correct, to the Stallion Greenway.
Okay, I'll second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Next one is, Justice Court, all right. Resolution to approve Justice Court clerk accepted to attend New York State Association of Magistrates and Court Clerks, the annual conference. And, whereas the Justice Court would like the Justice Court would like the clerk to attend the NYSMCCA, the annual town clerk conference in Albany, New York, from September 28th to October 1st.
You have to read the whole thing?
No.
No.
I quit. And New York costs
and that's the trade.
Train.
Plus mileage.
plus my-
Plus mileage.
This has already been,
Mhm.
this has already been in the budget.
It's in the budget.
It's in the budget already.
Yep, I
Okay.
see the line, yep, okay.
Okay? I make a motion to accept this,
Is it?
approve it.
Discussion.
Discussion? All in favor?
I,
Okay, this one here, I want to talk about the addition. This is on to,
yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think they all should go.
that's my feeling.
I wish they all would go.
Let's this one. I'll let.
Yeah, let's,
Well,
yeah,
regardless, they have to meet the criteria.
but it's right in Kingston.
It's in
I
Kingston.
mean, you can't get any better than this,
Oh, they need a hotel room.
right?
Or
I
driving.
mean, like, this is,
They could
I wish
carpool.
when I was on the ZBA, they had this there.
This is a county building.
It helps that we can.
Do you know what time of day
As
it is?
liaison.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Do you know what time of day it is?
I don't know, October, what's
This,
October 9th?
this just says October 9th, it doesn't.
I mean, it might be during the day, which would make that difficult for some people to attend, but
It's a
anybody who,
Thursday.
who could attend should attend.
Well,
Let's,
let's ask them.
I'll make sure that, it is addressed at
At
the
the
ZBA meeting.
Okay.
Uh,
You want to hold off on this?
well,
We
We can
still
amend it.
approve that, and then you can approve.
You can add other people
We
later.
can just have another resolution.
Well, the other thing too, is this is the agenda meeting.
Oh,
Is
that's
this
true. We don't
something that
have to.
needs to be?
It doesn't have to be.
No, we
Well,
can
Why don't we discuss and see who else at the ZBA might be willing, and then we can.
Is it open enrollment right now? Could they get locked out?
Mm,
They might have a limit to how many people can attend.
That's true.
I'm
I'm
thinking
Well,
we
sure
could
it's
just,
not-
do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure not.
It's probably,
You know, we could do,
It's in such high demand.
Approve the minutes and
Well, you can.
get more people to go.
how about just putting, amending it, like here it says member county bill and other members of the ZBA?
I like that.
Yes. And all members of.
You'll have
Should
to,
have an idea that how much, yeah, and how much.
right, because you couldn't know cost.
$100.
$100, yeah.
$100. Yeah, oh, there.
Want to table it till, next,
When's the next ZBA meeting?
Yeah, I guess.
Thursday.
so Thursday.
We'll find out pretty soon.
Yeah, no, I will.
They'll see the zoning board on Thursday.
It's held in October.
I think it's
Yeah,
fine.
so let's just table it to the next time you're gonna talk about this. Yeah.
No, so it's just up for discussion, no motions, and, what's the next order of business?
Speak to ZBA members. Matt,
Oh, and the other.
next one is
Justice.
accept the justice court order.
Okay.
All right,
Yes.
find it.
It's also on the screen.
It is John Parker and the Roy Hopper.
Yeah, it's easier for you to look at it in your packets.
Why is that?
What's that?
Like, these are the ones that are open and closed. Okay. Are we supposed to approve this now?
Yes. Okay. I make a motion to accept resolution.
second.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Okay. And, yeah. This is a resolution. Mike, do you want to talk about this resolution? To hire a new, full heavy mechanic? Hire HMEO.
Yeah, this is just a formality. I did this because of what happened with Brett Benjamin when he was hired. I wanted to get the resolution into the town board. Oh, it makes it's cleaner, right?
Well, the thing is that we don't need a
Still
resolution.
has a
No, but I just want it on the books so that there's never a question again. So now whenever I hire anybody that I want to try to put a resolution in. I think because we had an issue a while back with one and it just makes it cleaner. That way you can always go back to it and
We know when they started work.
All right.
So is this an additional person to the highway department or is it a new position?
no, it's already approved.
Yeah, and this is, there was someone who recently, left their position, correct? is gonna be.
Okay.
This is a replacement.
We hired a guy 6 or 8 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, you just.
He just didn't have the experience that he said he did.
Oh.
It was an amicable thing. I'm trying to help him get on the
Oh, I
county
see.
right now.
Yeah, just.
He had a great attitude. I wish I had.
Okay.
Is there only one person does this job, this specific job?
Well, the classification on, we have HMEOs, which are heavy machine equipment operators.
Yeah.
And
They're
then
all-
we have working supervisors, and then we have mechanics. Those are the positions that are budgeted that we have. And
Most of the guys are this role, right?
also are HMEOs.
Yeah, the list is on the screen.
Is it a heavy mechanic equipment operator or a heavy machine equipment operator?
Machine.
It
That's
says
why I was
mechanic
thinking
on here.
mechanic, but now it's heavy mechanic.
Oh, it's a machine.
That's why I asked if it was the only person in that position.
HMO says machine.
Okay, now maybe there's.
Is it,
Mechanic.
it should that be machine or mechanic?
No,
Well,
this is
that
machine.
list is wrong.
Should this be machine or mechanic?
Is it mechanic or
Oh, it's HMEO.
What is HMO?
Heavy.
Yeah, it's in the resolution, HMEO.
heavy mechanic equipment operator?
It's a machine.
That's on the resolution.
Right, so that's,
That's why I asked if it was the only person in that
It's
position.
heavy machine equipment operator. If it's wrong on the resolution, it should be machine.
It's wrong in a few places. It's wrong in the title. It's wrong in the first whereas.
You are completely right, Deb. Because these resolutions are written in like 5 minutes.
Typo from the original.
It should be machine.
It's in the title and it's in the first, it's in the first whereas, and it's in the last paragraph.
I saw it, but I wasn't gonna correct it.
There's one in the very last paragraph.
There's,
One,
Well, that's why I was asking.
yep, one in the first whereas, one in the last paragraph, and the title, that's it.
there's, there's 3 corrections.
Yep, whip, she's got it.
Corrections. Very good. Mechanic to the machine.
And now that we have that cleared up.
Okay, as amended.
It's like tonight, I think it's AI, because tonight I was texting my wife that we want to have plans and chicken wings for dinner. Like I put in class.
Good.
So, I don't know.
All right. I make a motion to accept the amended resolution.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor? Next one is a resolution to approve the purchase of replacement for existing full storage tank at Town Hurley Highway Garage.
Did you motion it?
No, I didn't.
Did you motion
I
it?
have my, all my, that's fine. I make a motion to accept this resolution. All right.
All right, I'll second.
That's resolution.
And
I have
oh, well,
discussion.
explain is that we got a violation notice a while back. It stemmed from, well, doesn't matter what it stemmed from, but we got a violation notice. We had several violations. I don't have them in front of me. And, but what it created was a instance where, DDC is gonna come up and inspect the tanks at the highway complex and transfer station every month. So we get some of these violations cleared up. And the fine that's applicable is $37,500 a day.
So this is a outside, like above ground fuel
Well, this,
storage?
the violations had to do with, several of the tanks, 2 that were that were never registered at the transfer station, started the whole ball rolling.
Right.
So then they wanted us to add them on to our application, because we register our tanks every year. And so they wanted us to add the transfer station onto them, and I was saying, well, it's a different department, but the DEC insisted that we put them on ours, so we've been working on getting that done. Then they came in and said, well, we have 230-gallon fuel tanks in the old garage that don't have containment. In other words, they don't have a containment basket around them. So we're gonna get that taken care of tomorrow. We're gonna empty the one tank, remove it totally, take the other tank and put that in a containment unit. And then that'll take care of that. The other one is the big one. And when I first came, I think, John, I talked to you back when I came in 2018, Dave Pollard said that big fuel tank that we have diesel and gas in now, had reached its life, 25. Its life is starting at 25. Everybody's been getting rid of them. It's it's a big concrete enclosure with the tank set inside and the concrete cracks. And then it doesn't have the containment. So we're in such close proximity to that little stream that goes down behind the highway garage. It's like about 300 foot from the highway complex that, you know, they're concerned about it. So they want us to get it finally done. It's been almost 8 years now. Get it out of there. So we're going to replace it with a 2,000 gallon tank just for diesel. That's going to be a steel wall tank. It's going to go in the same spot. We're going to use the same pumps, everything that's there. And that'll take care, you know, Josh Cummings will see that we're making headway. You know, we get the one tank in the containment, we get that done, we get the other tank pumped out, get them taken care of. He sees that we're making progress every month so that, you know, he's happy. The good thing is that that tank will service the highway for a long time to come, even when you build a new garage.
So it'll get moved to the new garage?
Where it is, we'll still continue to use the salt shed there, we can still continue to, utilize the cost of
Just buy it, use it with this.
And I'm gonna try to do as much of the work that I can possibly do with my crew to keep the costs down, like I'll take a jackhammer and I'll pound up the, all concrete and whatnot and get rid of it. And, I called the county today about their crane, Mike, and their crane limit is 15 tons, so it's right on the cusp, so we can't use it.
So,
They said they could probably lift it up straight up, but they couldn't move it or do anything else with it. So they'll have to get the crane and to lift it out, the old one.
excuse me.
And then what they'll do is they'll clean the whole tanks out, and then we can use them for scrap. We can put them in the scrap bin and we can get a.
One question on this thing here. The resolution issue cost me $30,000 to the new tank, but it's also $38,000 to remove the old tank.
Well, no, it's not just to remove the old tank, it's to put all the,
So just the
plumbing.
installation and everything is 38,000?
Okay.
There's two.
You gotta add
invoices.
those two together.
You have to add them together.
Yeah, this is just the tank, this is the removal and the outfitting with all the hardware.
68,000.
So it's 68,000. So the two unregistered tanks should be removed by,
Those are the transfer station, those,
are they also gonna be removed?
that's not part of this.
Where are they removed?
We're working on it. That's not my responsibility, but I took it on.
Okay.
But they have to wait until we get the approval that the tanks are actually registered.
We haven't got it
And then
yet.
once they're registered, then 30 days after that, they'll do
So
it.
we haven't got the registration approval yet.
Working on it.
Alright.
So we registered with two tanks, two transfer tanks.
Everything's been put in and registered, you know, and Josh has
But how
got to
is
give
that
the
done?
approval, but he's like, again, he's gonna be up there inspecting it every month. And, you know, he just wants to see headway, so we're doing our part of the highway. I can't do anything about those unregistered tanks that have been up at the transfer station since 2001, like 24 years. They didn't fall under the office of the highway, but I got saddled with them, so now I'm trying.
So we have
Yes.
to amend this resolution to include the 38,000.
So this is purchase and installation.
In other words, 68,000.
I didn't like.
42.
Okay,
John just gave us that.
I'm sorry, what was the total?
68,000,
Yeah.
right, 68,725.42.
So that would be for purchase and installation.
And
Yeah,
installation.
well, but
Benefit.
also
There's something else
replace.
happening.
The benefit was we won't have that big monolith there. The new tank will be all.
Is this removing? It's one of these is removing.
Right.
And then the other
Pumps
one's-
that are there, we're gonna
So,
use,
so the.
and we're gonna have
Installation.
gas pump is also gonna be plumbed so that we can rebuild the
And
trucks.
removal.
And
With the old purchase of a new.
Removal.
it's cheaper than I thought. I thought it was gonna be over
And I
$80,000.
would say as per.
That was the original price I got 5 years ago.
What budget line? I'm sorry.
Capital 3H.
Capital 3A.
Thank you.
That for the attached invoice.
To approve the purchase,
Purchase,
installation,
no, purchase, removal,
removal,
and
and
installation.
installation. Purchase of are we moving a 2,000 gallon tank as well?
No, 3,000.
No, it's 2,000.
So it's a purchase of a 2,000 tank.
We have a 3,000 gallon tank now.
We have a 1,000 gallon tank for gas and we have a 2,000 gallon. tank for
Removal
diesel.
of 2 tanks
We haven't used the gasoline one since we got the wet storage.
and installation.
Does that have to be removed, that can be removed?
Hmm?
Does the thing need to be removed up? The regular gasoline,
They're both inside that big concrete,
they're all coming out.
everything's coming out. The
So,
new tank will be separate inside those bollards there. And
Just.
so that last therefore approve the purchase of 2,000 above ground tank from, comma, plus removal of 2 tanks and installation of new tanks.
tank.
Tank, installation of new tanks for a total of $68,725.
I took a picture too. During it, it's not for posting. I just want to show my wife.
I'll motion as
How close are
amended.
we to getting an updated version of 3H?
Well, how many more hours a day do you want me to work?
8.
I work more than 8.
I second the motion. I second the motion.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Now you can talk.
Public statement, you know,
Oh, I make a motion, go.
Call it Wendy Day.
Wendy, you want to speak?
No,
Any motion open public
I'm
comment?
tired.
Why does it say open and close?
Because I have something to say.
Oh, okay, open.
I have another matter
I'll
to bring up if you don't mind.
All in favor?
Aye.
So it's open.
Okay.
I call Lynn Bailey.
Thank you.
Wendy.
Um, Listen, I don't know if you're all aware, but Arizona Hudson Valley has approached the IDA to have all their taxes and mortgage taxes waived and everything. The hearing is next Monday at 5 o'clock at Town Hall. Which, also I looked over their proposal and they seem to be using it, it describes a use that has really not been approved because they have this capacity for another 440 people for which there's no parking in the site plan. Anyway, it just brings up a can of worms. And also you might want to consider the impact to the town and have some comments to make about it.
What's the impact of the town? In the county, you collected all the taxes already, so now it's. the
Yeah, we
county
have
to
not
collect it?
collected taxes. They want to not pay property taxes. They want to not pay.
No. It's not they don't want to pay property taxes or taxes, they want a reduction in it. They think the calculation of their taxes is an error.
They're
Well-
not agree.
Well,
they're
that's
not
the agreement.
agreement.
Well, if they're recommending approval of everything. I mean, they're requested to be exempt from property taxes, sales taxes, and the mortgage tax, which is $187,000 in total.
And
So you might want to take
who are they
a,
paying the taxes to?
at the moment, nobody. They didn't pay their taxes this year.
Okay.
So
at
you
this
might
point-
wanna take a
hold on
look
second,
at it.
hold on a second, hold on a
So
second.
it's just a public comment, so she's making this comment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
This is
Yes,
public
question,
comment.
sorry.
So why don't
suggesting you
yeah,
take a look
provide
at
the
it.
documentation, because this is the first anyone here is, and this.
The IDA is
And
having a hearing in our
maybe
town hall.
assessor might have something to say about it, or if
The IDA is having a hearing at the Hurley Town
they're
Hall.
having yes, they're having a
And
public
nobody
hearing
knows
on
about
July
it.
14th at 5 PM at the Hurley Town Hall.
Would you get me that tomorrow morning? Okay, thanks.
And they're also having a hearing in Rosendale at 2 PM same day. So I would like to understand that better. But I also noted that when I read their proposal, that they're estimating $16 million in sales, and they had a lot more people that they expected to be on the premises than originally planned for, which I'll bring up with the building department.
So far,
Definitely still would have to comply with all the zoning
That's correct.
requirements and anything else was approved. Conditions that were put in place with that.
Do you have this? Forward.
Yeah.
First chance you get.
You don't want to hear what I have to say.
Oh, yeah, let's start talking.
Public comment?
Second.
And discussion?
Deb,
All in favor?
Aye.
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Any discussion?
And it is 7:40.
7:41.
Okay. All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye. I vote aye.
Chinese or something.